What's going on, everybody? It's JP here with Summer Love and Jeep, and thank you for tuning into today's video. Today is just a quick walk around of my Jeep JK Saharacon build. So it's just an update of basically everything that I've done over the past month and a half, which I didn't really get a chance to film. Alright, so basically about a month and a half ago, mid-September, we had a vacation planned to Sailor's Haven. Jordana, Aurelia, and Odin went over ahead of time, and then I had like a day and a half, 2 days to kind of like bang out majority of all the work that I had to do. So basically what I did was axle removal, which was remove the original Sahara axles, which was the Dana 30 front, the Dana 44 rear, and the drive shafts. So I pulled all that out, and then I had Dana 44 Rubicon axles that I found up in Michigan. Those were shipped to me, and then basically those came on a Wednesday night. So I had pulled out the axles Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday night I started putting the axles in, and then I spent all day Thursday finishing the axles, installing the AEV lift and the drive shafts, and then I got as far as I could go, and then I had to go meet up with them on vacation on Friday. And basically then the Jeep sat for about 2 to 3 weeks of where I was kind of like doing little things to finish up on the whole big project. And then finally end of September I got the brakes redone because I wanted to put on I put on the power stop brakes, the heavy duty light trucks kit, put those on, finally got everything finished, did the test drives. So I've been driving the Jeep now for about a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I've taken it off-road, and it's been doing pretty good. So I'll show you everything that I did, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna change out a little bit. I have some of those parts here, and I'll be making videos on what I change out. But for the most part, it's now Saharacon because it has the Rubicon axles and the lockers. Alright, so here we go. I hope you like. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you liked the video, and leave a comment. Ask any questions, and I'll throw in some pictures of... I snapped some pictures of when I was doing the project. I wanted to video so bad, but I just didn't have the time, and I basically just worked and worked to try and finish the project. So, alright, sorry there's no video, but I'll show you what I did. Alright, thanks, here we go. So, I posted a picture, and I think I showed it on a video before. These are the Nitto's all-terrain terror grapplers. They're 315 75 R16s, and then my wheel Ventique steel rims, 16-inch, with a 4.5-inch backspace. So I'm just going to tell you what an actual ride height is. So I'm at just about 33 3/4. So that's the actual height of the tire. It's supposed to be around a 34, so it's pretty close. So the amount of lift, if you've seen the Jeep in previous videos or pictures, you'll notice I think the fender was down around right here when I had these tires on. So now So now we're sitting at 40 3/4. So with the AEV 3.5-inch lift, the bottom of my fender is at 40 3/4. So from the top of the tire, which is 33 3/4, I have 7 inches of space between the tire and my fender, which is I think pretty good. Alright, so this is basically my the Rubicon rock sliders that I got off an old Rubicon. So I'm basically sitting now 22 inches to the bottom of this slider. To the bottom of the frame, I'm at 18 inches. So 18 inches to the bottom of this frame, and what was it? 22 inches to the bottom of the Rubicon slider. So that's a good amount of increased clearance. The one thing that you have to do with the lift, especially at this height, is they give you the front control arm relocation bracket. So you can see here, it actually drops the control arm down. So from the original height, it drops it down. That's to improve your handling in the front end, and especially with braking, so that way your axle doesn't roll under with the control arm being at this angle. So it changes the angle from like here of the control arm to here, so that it's a more direct force acting on the control arm. So we measure that. So about 14 and a half inches to the center of this bolt, and it's about 13 and a half to the bottom of this control arm bracket. Whereas you're looking at 15 and a half for the original control arm height. So that's about 2 inches of difference there. So that's the only thing that you have to think about there. But when you go increase your lift height, you want the Jeep to handle correctly, so you have to do this modification. So it's a trade-off, I guess. There's the JKS sway bar quick disconnects. You can see this is one of the AV relocation brackets that comes with the kit. This I changed out from previous video. This is the new diff cover, so this is a heavy-duty ARB diff cover that replaces the stock one. And this is obviously the new Dana 44 Rubicon axle for the front. So it's from a 2018, had like about 25,000 miles on it, which is actually pretty good. And there's the new steering stabilizer. That's actually one thing that I'm gonna switch. I have a new steering stabilizer, and I'm gonna switch that out because I do have a little steering wheel shimmy. It's not really noticeable, but I did a lot of research, and a bunch of people are saying just to switch that out and add a heavier dutier steering stabilizer. Alright, so one of the things that you reuse on the front axle, I reused the front tie rod. I'm thinking about replacing this. I got my eye on a metal cloak one. Thinking of replacing my tie rod and my drag link. AV does give you a new part of the drag link here from the steering adjustment knuckle to the knuckle of your passenger side of the axle. It actually goes on the top of the knuckle, so rather the stock one goes underneath the knuckle. So this one comes with the sleeve and everything, so you replace that. I'm just thinking of replacing the stock one with something that's a lot beefier. So that's basically it for the front end. Alright. Alright, so here's the new rear axle. This is a Dana 44 Rubicon rear axle. So you can see there's the Bilstein reservoir shocks from the AEV 3.5 inch lift. And that's the track bar relocation, the high lift kit bracket that you put on the rear axle. And then I did the ARB diff cover. And really, one of the side effects of having a lift, well, 3.5 inch lift, is that it makes it so much easier to get under the Jeep. With the original stock Sahara, you could barely crawl under here to do any work. Now you don't even really have to jack it up to do anything, so you got to get under there. It's way easier. Alright, so we'll start at the rear. So here's the start. It's an Adams drive shaft 1350. So one of the things that I don't like is that it's already started to rust. Like, it was pretty much instantaneous. So the one thing I will recommend when installing this is disconnect this skid plate bolt and this one and drop this skid plate down. That way you get full access here. I also had to use a puller to get the I guess the stock yoke out of here. So that was that. But one of the benefits of doing an axle swap is I had the rear axle and the front axle not in the Jeep, so I was able to get the stock yoke off out there and put the new Adams yoke on outside of the Jeep, and it made it, I think, a lot easier than trying to work on it without a high lift, because I basically had this on jacks, so that was definitely easier. Alright, so sliding to the front, look, I can still fit. Alright, so there's the front. This one was definitely more of a pain in the butt. There's a lot less room to work here. One of the biggest things that I totally forgot to do, and which I freaked out a little bit when I first tried to drive the Jeep, is your four-wheel drive cable is right above the yoke of the transfer case. You can see there. Let me see if I can get my hand in there just to point it out a little better. It's right there. You can see it's like cut. So you definitely have to trim that piece, because that piece, if you can see the other side, was hitting the yoke every time the drive shaft rotated. And I heard this big thud and kaplank, and I thought I was in big trouble. But then one of my buddy was like, "Hey, just check the four-wheel drive cable. It's manual. It's just, maybe it's rubbing." And I went down here and I saw that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to cut that off." So that's one of the big things. So here it is on the front. Again, I had this front axle off, so it was easy to swap the yoke out. And I had to use a puller for this side, and I had to use a puller for that side. So yeah, all in all, so far I really like the axles. They're holding up very well. It's probably been about 250 to 300 miles. You can see here's the grease fitting, so it definitely, you got to make sure you do maintenance on them and re-grease them. So they have them here at the other one at the other side, so make sure you stay on top of that. Alright, so here's looking at the AV front control arm relocation bracket. So you can see that. The passenger side was definitely a lot easier to get installed. There was a lot more room. This bolt up here is a pain in the ass. It has one of those tabs, but just, you'll know it when you do it. It's like a bolt that comes out. So it's basically, the bolt is fine, it's the nut that's back here. So it's basically in here, and it's got one of those tabs, so you don't have to worry about getting a wrench on the back of it, but you got to get your fingers back in there, and that was a pain in the butt. However, the driver's side is way worse, especially because you have the
exhaust piping right here. And this is a pain in the butt. AV was like, just bend it out of the way. And I tried prying it a little bit. That didn't really work. So somehow I finagled it and I got everything back together. But again, getting this nut up through here was just a pain in the butt. But yeah, that's everything that was done under here. So all in all, it wasn't too bad.
Alright, so I know it was a quick video and I kind of just glossed over basically everything that I did over the Jeep, but I really wish I had videoed everything that I did. I just probably wouldn't have been able to get it done in like a day and a half. With having to move the camera around and show everything and explain everything. It's kind of frustrating. I did a lot of great work, and I wish I had the time to video all of that, but it is what it is. So far, the tires, the rims, the 3.5-inch lift, everything's been holding up great. We've gone off-roading to the beach quite a few times. Everything's been great. The extra lift is awesome. One of the few, I think the last couple of times in the early summer, with those tires and the stock lift, we would bottom out a lot on the bump stops, and I was even rubbing on the fenders with the tires when we were off-roading, and it was just super annoying. So with myself, Jordana, the 2 kids, and all our gear that we take to the beach, I haven't had any issues with bottoming out, so that's definitely a positive. Jeep handles great on the road also. I think my mileage is at like 14.2 right now. I'm probably gonna get one of those throttle controls just to see if that makes any difference. I don't know. Maybe leave a comment down below, see which one you recommend. I know there's the pedal commander or the iDrive. So I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos, everybody testing them out. If you have a recommendation, just leave a comment, and whichever one gets the most comments, which is probably the one I'll get. The pedal commander does do Bluetooth, so you can control it from your phone, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, that's all I got. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Any questions about my build, just leave a comment. I'll answer anything, and I'll put a link to where I got everything. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a great video, and happy Monday.